Hi friends, welcome to Eng-lane English classroom. Today we discuss 10th standard English Unit 1 Lesson 2 The Snake and the Mirror. We have already discussed one story and one poem. I think you remember that. The story was Adventures in a Banyan Tree. You remember it, don't you? Now, there are some silhouettes of some scenes from the story are given here. Silhouettes means an outline of a solid structure cast by its shadow can be called silhouette. You can see that. And what you have to do is identify the scenes and give cut lines. Cut line means a caption of any illustration to a photograph. A caption or any illustration to a photograph. Let us see. This is a model. Right, this is the silhouette and this is the cut line. Here you can see the small squirrel became friendly and familiar enough to take food from his hands. Just like that, you have to give cut lines to the other silhouettes. Let us see it, the next one. Okay, watch it. Next. Then next. Right. This is the last. I think you have got some idea. You can write it with your pen or pencil in your notebook. Now let me give you some suggestions for the cut lines. First one is given, the second one. The boy built a small platform halfway up the tree on which he would often spend the afternoons when it was too hot. Third one. The myna and the crow determined to take part in the fight and they dived at the cobra. Fourth, the mongoose wins the fight and drags the cobra to the bushes. Fifth, the grey squirrel and there is only the Y is not there. The grey squirrel and the white rat form a friendship and they plan little excursions among the banyan branches. This only THE is a typing error. Sixth, the boy discovers 3 white baby squirrels among the wool. These are the captions for the cut lines. Or these are some suggestions. You may have your own with the same idea in different language, no matter at all. But really, what are these things? They are some of the events from the story. Using the events, we can prepare narrative. We have practiced it. Okay? And I think you remember the things that we have, the points that we have to include in a narrative. What are the events? It is given the where and when do they happen, that is the setting. Who are the characters? What do they see, hear, smell, think or feel, that is the senses feelings. And senses images can be there. And next, there should be a good opening and ending. And there should be a variety of sentences too. You have to try it and you had better give a title too. Okay? You have to do that. Nowadays, let us move on. Even though there is a fight between cobra and the mongoose, the last part of the story is funny. You remember that? There were 3 white baby squirrels. You remember that? Everyone likes fun and humor, don't they? I think you too like fun and humor, don't you? Certainly we like it. Now, what is 1 plus 1? Your answer will be 2. But you see, the logic answer is simple logic to test that answer is 2. But there was once a man who, in one of his stories, gave a different answer. ഇമ്മിണി വലിയ ഒന്ന്, or a big one. ഒന്നൊന്നും കൂട്ടിയാൽ ഇമ്മിണി വലിയ ഒന്നാണ്. It's a kind of a humor taken from one book. Do you know who is this man who gave that answer? Yeah? Now see the picture. It's very familiar, I think, right? Okay, who is he? He is Vaikam Muhammad Bashir, and he is fondly remembered as Beypur Sultan. You know, he is a humanist, freedom fighter, novelist, and short story writer. He is hailing from Kerala, and he is a Keralite. He is noted for his disarmingly down-to-earth style of writing, disarmingly, charmingly, or his writings draws attraction towards them. And down-to-earth means realistic or practical style of writing. That means he wrote for people in their language, and so it made him equally popular among literary critics as well as the common people, common man, because his language was simple. His notable works include Balakala Sakhi, ശബ്ദങ്ങൾ, പാത്തുമ്മയുടെ ആട്, മതിലുകൾ, ഡുപ്പുപ്പാക്കൊരാണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ജന്മദിനം, and അനർഘ നിമിഷം. You might have read some of them. He was awarded Padma Shri in 1982. Yes, there are some hints. You have to, with the help of that hint or those hints, you have to prepare the profile of Vaikam Muhammad Bashir. It is there at the end of this class. You have to do it, and you will get some more ideas. Okay. Now, what did he write about? You might have read some of his books. What did he write about in those books? Please look at some images related to his books. See? Right? Right? Okay. What he write about? He wrote about people. He wrote about nature. He is the Sultan of stories and a true lover of nature. You know, the title of this unit is Glimpses of Green, which stands for nature, and the theme of this unit is nature. That is the relevance of this story here. He highlights the blend of all creatures and nature in his stories. The stories evoke humor and sarcasm on the follies of man. Here is such a story. Let us read and enjoy. Okay? Now we are going to discuss the story, the snake and the mirror. The snake and the mirror. Okay? Now, see, the snake and the mirror. What can be the relation between them? Have you heard of such a relation? How do you feel? Is it strange or funny? Let us see. Now, please look at the picture. Some people are there. A man is sitting against them. What may be doing? Okay. Now, this is a room inside, something inside the room. You can see the things here. All the things here, right? Here, this one, everything you have to observe keenly. Okay. Right. Now, what do you see in the picture? What's there? Who are they? What are they doing? You can have your own answers. What may they be discussing? What's the time? How can we know that? That I mean that night or I mean the second picture, not the first picture. What's the time there? And that night or day? And how do you know it? Who is the protagonist? I have seen the protagonist there sitting against some people I have mentioned then. And then where did he live? His room is there, you know that. Now, he is a very interesting character, yes. Please listen to the audio and find out who he is. You don't forget to note where the audio ends. So, you have to keep the textbook with you. Okay? Ready?
The snake and the mirror. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. It was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. The house was not electrified. It was a small, rented room. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase, along with some shirts and totis. I also possessed one solitary black coat, which I was then wearing. I took off my black coat, white shirt, and Note's white vest and hung them up. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. It had a tiled roof with long supporting galleries that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out to the veranda for a little air, but the window seemed to have taken time off.
Okay, friends, I think you have listened to it and you have found where it ends, right? Now, okay, who is he? Is that man sitting against some people or his friends? Certainly, I have got that one. That is a doctor. Where was he sitting? They were sitting along with his friends in his room. And where did he live? Not in that picture, but he shares some of his experiences or some experience he had. And at that time, where did he live? It is there. He lived in a rented house. What about his earnings? His earnings were meager or very low. And what were the things in his room? You have seen the things. I think there is no need of showing it again. You please try to remember those things. Now, dears, we can get some more ideas, so we can read the story once again. Has a snake ever coiled itself round any part of your body? A full-blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from a homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with the tale. It was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that rats and I shared the room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. The house was not electrified. It was a small rented room. I had just set up medical practice and my earnings were meager. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase. Along with some shirts and dhotis, I also possessed one solitary black coat which I was then wearing. I took off my black coat, white shirt and not so white vest and hung them up. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. It had a tiled roof with long supporting gables that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out to the veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. Read it, yes? You have read with me, and let us try to answer this one. What were they discussing? You know, they were discussing snakes. When and where did it happen? One summer night in the narrator's room. What do you know about the doctor? He was a doctor and he was a homeopath, and he had just set up his medical practice, and his earnings were very poor, that is meager, and you know all those things. And why couldn't he sleep? Because it was very hot, you know that. Now let us know more about the story. The stories evoke humor. Whose stories? Bashir's stories evoke humor, you know. Is there an instance of humor in this paragraph? Please read it silently once again and find it out. You don't forget to note the important words too, right? Got it? Okay. Now, please try to answer these questions, simple questions. What was the questions raised by homeopaths? Has a snake ever coiled itself around any part of your body, a full-blooded cobra? How does the narrator describe the cobra? Full-blooded. What does that mean? Full-blooded mean? That can have literally, it has another sense, but here it means venomous and dangerous cobra. Then what others do? They fell silent. Who asked that question? A homeopath. What were they discussing then? They are discussing snakes. And when the doctor continued with when the doctor continued with the tale, the others listened carefully. Because you know, it is a very horrible experience, right? And when did it happen? A hot summer night, about 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock. And where did the doctor return from? He returned after his meal, after having his meal. And what did he hear then? He heard a noise from above. When did he hear it? When he opened the door. What about the sound? It was a familiar one. Why? There were many rats in that room. And you see, one could say that rats and I shared the room. That is an instance of humor. You have to note that. That means there are so many rats in that room. What did he do then? He took up matchbox and lit the kerosene lamp on the table. Was the house electrified? No. It was a small rented room. And what about the doctor's practice? He had just set up his medical practice. And how were his earnings? His earnings were meager. What about his possessions? Only 60 rupees, along with shirts and dhotis and one single black coat. Okay. Now, what did he do then? He removed his black coat, white shirt and not so white vest and hung them up. Dears, you listen carefully. Hung means tooki, hanged means tooki konnu. Hung is the hang is the. How to note that? Then what did he do? He opened the two windows. Why did he open it? To get some air. And how was that room? It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. And its roof was tiled with long supporting cables that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling. And another instance of humor is here. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. That means rats would travel to and from the beam regularly. And what did he do? He made his bed, pulled it close to the wall, and he tried to sleep. But could he sleep? No. So he got up and went out the veranda for a little air. But there was no air outside too, because the window gods seemed to have some rust. Okay. Now we can try to answer the scaffolding questions. What was the topic that came for discussion between the doctor and his friends? Very simple, you know that. What does the expression full-blooded cobra suggest? I mentioned, don't forget it, venomous and dangerous cobra. The sound was familiar one. What was the sound? That the doctor thought that was sound of rats, but really, what's the sound? We can understand later. You have to write the answers and compare the answers with the sample answers given in the notes. Okay. Now let us discuss the story in detail. Before that, let us see the words. A full-blooded means, or full-blooded means of unmixed ancestry, or vigorous, enthusiastic and without compromise. That means പാരമ്പര്യമുള്ള തറവാട്ടുകാരായ മലയാളി message. It's like that. Here that means a real cobra and a true cobra with all the features of a cobra. That means very poisonous and dangerous. Came up means occur or present itself, especially unexpectedly, or arise, uyarnu variga, attentively while paying close attention, right? Carefully. Setup means to start running a business. Earnings means money obtained in return for labor or services. Varumanam, sambadhyam. Meek means lacking in quantity or quality. Possess means own. Udamastilavuva. Solitary means single or only. You know that. Now, please listen. Has a snake ever coiled itself around any part of your body? I think there is no need of explanation. Not only the snake is a full-blooded cobra, a very poisonous and dangerous cobra. When this question was heard, all others fell silent. The question was asked by homeopath, and they were discussing snake. Then this question came up. Then he raised this question. Then the doctor continued with that story. Tale means story, and the others listened carefully. It happened one hot summer night at about 10 o'clock. The doctor had his meal at a restaurant or restaurant, two pronunciations are there, and returned to his room. Then he heard a noise from above. When he opened the door, he didn't care it because such sounds were familiar there. Why? Because there were so many rats, and he humorously says, one could say that rats and the doctor shared the room. See, here's a grammar, you see, rats and I. If there is first person, I is first person and rat third person. If there is I, the first person, I comes only last. You have to note that. And what did he do then? He took out the matchbox and lit the kerosene lamp on the table because there was no electricity. The house was not electrified, it is there, and it was a small rented room. Very simple, right? He had just set up his medical practice, and his income was meager, very low. Earnings were low, income was very low, and his savings were very low, and he had about only 60 rupees in the suitcase. Then he had some shirts and dhotis and a single black coat which he was wearing then. Okay dears, no doubt I think. Now this is the suitcase, this is you can see his dress, and this is black coat, this is a full bulbed cobra night, this is kerosene lamp. Now let us move on to the next paragraph. The words first. Took off means to remove. Vest means a garment worn on the upper part of the body for a particular purpose. Here it means, we recite in Malayalam, banyan. Beam, a long sturdy piece of square timber or metal used to support roof or floor of a building. You know that. Gable means the upper part of the end wall of a building between the two sloping sides of roof, and that is shaped like a triangle. We can see that. Take time off, that's an idiom. It is used when referring to not going to work or not doing a responsibility for a period of time, taking rest for a while. Okay, here the wind god was taken time off. You know that. Now see, this is the coat. This is not white, this is a shirt, and this is the vest. Not so white means a dirty. You can see it clearly, right? Now this is the beam. You know, this is the beam. You can see rats, and their regular traffic is there. Next, this is gables. Gables. You see this structure. This one. See. Upper part of the end of the wall of building between two sloping, this one sloping and two sloping sides of the roof that is shaped like a triangle. You can see this is like this is gable, right? Now let us discuss that paragraph. He removed his black coat and his white shirt and that dirty white vest, that banyan, you know, and hung them up. Then he opened the two windows to get fresh air. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. On one side there was an open yard. Yard means mutta, you know. It had a tiled roof. Its roof was tiled with long supporting gables. We have seen that rested on the beam over the wall. There was no ceiling, was not there. There was a regular traffic of rats to and from the beam. That means the rats would travel along, or they would go to and from, they would move to and from that along that beam. And he made his bed and he got ready to sleep, pulling the bed close to the wall, and he lay down, but he could not sleep because it was very hot, and he got up and went out the veranda for a little air. But the wind god seemed to have some rest, so he couldn't get fresh air. Okay dears, now you have seen this, and now the main ideas. A doctor and his friends were discussing snakes. Doctor narrated his experience with a snake. He had just started practice. His earnings were therefore meager. He lived in a small rented room which was not electrified. He had only 60 rupees in his suitcase. Apart from a few shirts and dhotis, he had one solitary black coat. His house was full of rats. It was a hot summer night about 10 o'clock. When he returned to his room after having his meal, he heard a noise from above. As it was hot, he could not sleep. So he went out to the veranda. Okay, yes, you got it. What you have to do is, I mentioned earlier, here there are some hints. You have to use it and you have to prepare a profile of Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. I think it is a familiar task, no need of much explanation. Okay, you don't forget to give the title, the name of the person itself, and birth was born, since there is date on should be added, and famous as, he is famous as, or he is a famous novelist or story writer. In that way, he was known for his famous work include or are award, he was awarded, he won, or he was conferred, and at death he passed away or he died. You know that you have to write it. And now you please watch this.
By Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. It is the story of a doctor who has just started his medical practice. He earns a meager income and lives in a small rented room, which is an outhouse with a tiled roof. The beam on which the gavel is supported is full of rats, which keep moving in and out of the room. The room has no electricity supply. One summer night, the doctor takes his dinner at a restaurant and returns home. As the doctor opens the door of his room, he hears a noise from above, but he does not react because he is used to such noises. He lights the kerosene lamp, takes off his coat, shirt and vest, and opens the windows. He takes out a medical book from the table drawer to read.
Okay, dears, now I hope you have learned what we have discussed. Thank you for watching. Notes and explanations are there. You can make use of it to compare your answers and your discourses. Meet you again. Till then, goodbye.